Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. We have just finished or almost finished the first week of school here in Melbourne, Victoria, and I thought I would share with you all of the things we've done this week in our first week of prep or kindergarten. But before we do that, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and comment below if you've got any video ideas or things that you'd like to see. And I'm just going to take you through all the things that we've done in the last few days. So this week our preps did 2 half days and then 2 full days. So I'm going to show you all the things that we got up to. Okay, so on day 1, the kids only were here for half the day, and so we started off in the morning with a bit of a play. So just once they arrived, we let them settle into an activity, and I had just different things out. So I'll show you some of those things. I had Lego, and I had cars and a car mat. I had some free drawing and some colouring in, and then I had a couple of fine motor activities, which I'll show you now. So the first fine motor activity I had was this crazy hair. So I made these last year and just attached pipe cleaners to the ends. And all the kids do is I've got a box of beads here. These are from Kmart. And they just thread the beads on and they give their little person crazy hair. So they just pop the beads on and fill up the pipe cleaners. So that was one of the activities, pretty popular. Next activity, this is from Teach Starter. So I've got a bunch of these cards with different pom-poms on them in different patterns, different colours. And the kids use these tweezers from Kmart, which just like this. And they just simply pick up the pom-pom from the container with the tweezer and then pop it onto the mat and try to, correspond the colour, with the pom-pom, and also make the pattern. So some of them are a cross, some of them are, a regular pattern, and there's circles, and then there's lines and different things like that. So that was another one that we had out in the morning. So I let them play for a while while they settled in, and we got rid of the parents. And then I brought them together and we started our morning circle. So I introduced them to the morning circle. So we only did a few parts for the morning circle on the first day. So we did our greeting, which we practiced shaking each other's hands, looking at each other in the eye and saying good morning and saying that person's name. So we go around the circle, and then we talked about any announcements that we might have and some of the things that we're hoping that we can do in our class today. So these cards are from Miss Learning Bee, and they are just different sort of I can statements about transitioning to school. So this one says, I can be brave and wave goodbye to my parents without getting upset. I can carry my school bag, I can open my lunchbox, I can pack away when I'm done. So there's all different things. So we introduced a few of those and we ticked off the ones that we could already do. Also talked about one that we could work on as a class, and I popped that up on the big whiteboard up there so that we know that that's something that we're working on. Then we went through the days of school, so I'll show you that now. So we used our days of school board here. So far we've got 3 days. We've got it up in here. We also need to do today's. So today would be day 4 in the tens frame, in the place value, and down here as well. So we talked about how we're going to do that each day, and we counted where we're up to so far. I've spent a lot of time establishing routine this week. So then we talked about what to do when they come to school. So they unpack their bag, they put their reader folder in one of the bag boxes, they put their drink bottle on their table, and then they can get into an activity. So we did all of that. We practiced and all of those sorts of things. Then I introduced the doorbell, which this is the first time I've used this, and so far it's already been a game changer. I would definitely recommend it. My doorbell was like $20 from Bunnings, and it comes with this piece, and then I have the sound piece just on the whiteboard in the whiteboard tray. And basically anytime I ring this, the kids stop and listen, and so far this week it has been an absolute game changer. Definitely something I will keep in the classroom because the kids are really good. And so we practiced that, we danced around a little bit and pressed it and stopped, and everyone looks and listens, and they've done really well with that. Then we had story time, so we read this book First Day by Andrew Daddo, talked about the different things we do on our first day, and they loved that. We also took photos of them using this frame on the back of it, so you can see. So it says first day prep 2022, and I used those photos for 2 different things. First of all, I printed them mini size and attached them to these pegs. The peg has a magnet on the back, and we printed them and hot glue gun them in. And then I used this message from Miss Learning Bee, and it says, I made this little magnet for you on my very first day so that all my precious work can always be on display. And so they took that out with their little photo on it and gave it to mum and dad at the end of the day. The mums and dads loved it. The other thing I did with the first day photos was printed them out and popped them on display on the wall. Obviously I can't show you because it's got the kids' faces in it, but it's just a nice big printout on our first day bulletin board. And the last thing that they did was they coloured in a Pevin and Sarah crown, first day of school crown. So they spent lots of time colouring in. We talked about colouring in the lines and not colouring over the top of the lines and using different colours, and so that was a really good insight into kids that are really confident with colouring, really good at colouring, really enjoy colouring, and then kids that maybe struggle a little bit. So it was a really good indicator of how they're going. So that was day 1. It was super fun. It went super fast. We did a few school tours and things like that got them working out where we go and where they can play and practice lining up outside and all of those things. So lots of routine work, and then they went home at lunch. On day 2, we read a couple more back to school books. So we read The Pigeon Has to Go to School, which the kids always love, and we read Chomp Goes to School, both of which I got this from Kmart. I'm not sure where I got this one from, but really great books and just good to tune them back in. Then one of the activities we did was they went out and painted with our teacher's aids. So we used sponges like this and cut them up as the background, and then just basically dipped in and dipped onto the paper so that we got this sort of collage look. And then I gave them their name, but I had cut the strips up into squares and I gave them to them in a little paper bag that looks like this. And they had to take their squares out and unjumble it and glue it on to the bottom here. And then they also drew a self-portrait, so I'll turn around and show you what their self-portrait looks like. We do hard copy learning journals at the end of the year where we give them an A3 folder of all their great work. So this activity is going to be the front cover of that. So I'll turn around and show you that, and also show you the other activity that we did on our second day of school. So these are our self-portraits. So they drew what they think they look like, bless, and then they had to unjumble their name and stick it on in order. So as you can see, some of them were able to do that. Some of them had a little bit of trouble, but it's such a great way to show their growth. So this will be the front cover of their A3 journal, and then we can show their growth by showing what they did by the end of the year when it comes to their name and their drawing ability and everything like that. The other activity we did on day 2 were these name activities. So basically, I love this one because it shows you lots about a kid, not just whether they can write their name. So it's got whether they can cut in a circle, whether they can follow instructions, whether they start at the right end. As you can see, this one up here, you might not be able to see. She started at the right instead of the left, so it's backwards. These ones, cutting around in the circle, letters are backwards, those sorts of things. But they did a great job with them, given that it was the first day. And it showed me that a few need to practice writing their name. And I was pretty impressed with how they followed the instructions there and cut out. So they were really good. And yeah, that was day 2. On day 3, we did a monster theme day because we started our spelling program. We use sound waves here at my school, and the first sound that we do is M, or the M sound. So I decided to theme the day with monsters. So I'm going to just flip you around and show you all the different monster things that we did for the day. The kids loved it. We had a great time, and we've kept it going today as well on day 4, and it'll probably roll a little bit into day 5 next week as well, just because we didn't quite get everything finished. So I started with a mystery bag, calico bag with 4 things in it. I had this revolting monster, a mirror, a magnet, and money. And basically I pulled each thing out and I said, what do they have in common? And it took a little while, but then someone got it and they said they all have the sound at the start. So that was really awesome. And then we talked about the different words that we had here, and then they also gave me some other words they could think of that had the sound. We then kicked into the Soundwaves curriculum, which is on the computer and on the TV, so I showed them the Mummy on the Moon sound. We used the icon, which I can show you a bit later, and just did some oral language around the sound and different words that start with We then read Monster School Rules, which is a super cute picture book about Monster School and all the rules that they have there. And then we made monster shape monsters, and I'm so happy with how these turned out. I gave them a little demo, but not too much. I left it pretty open-ended. It was a bit of a pre-assessment to what shapes they knew. So I had them make the shape monster without sort of directly telling them that it was to do with shapes. I just gave them different bits of paper and eyeballs and strips and scissors and glue, and they were able to do what they wished with it. And then after that, I asked them what shapes they could see on their monster, and they labelled them. So I described for them. I see a square, rectangle, circle, and eyeballs on my shape monster. So they're just sort of describing it. This one is my favourite. He comes up to me and he says, "Miss Georgia, I'm finished." I said, "Oh, that looks awesome." And he goes, "And my shape monster's dabbing." He's got his hand there bent and straight so that he's doing the dab. So they loved that, and it was a great little pre-assessment into shape as well. I found these super funny finger puppets at Kmart, which are all monsters. So I bought them for maths. So we started by getting one of these each and singing a song on YouTube, which I'll link below, about how many fingers on my hand, and it's a monster that sings it. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they go up to 10, and they just love wearing the little monsters. Then for our warm-up, we played bingo. This is from Top Teacher, and it's got a slides match on the TV, so that's the way you call out the numbers. So it shows up the number on the screen, then the kids see if they've got it on their board, pop a counter on and yell bingo. They had the best time with that. And then the actual activity, I gave them a piece of paper where all the monsters were jumbled up in the wrong order. So they had to cut them out, great fine motor, glue them on in order, and then they had to draw the amount of eyeballs to match. So for 1, they drew 1 eyeball, and for 8, they drew 8 eyeballs. She can see there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, she's got that. And then they did, then they started to colour them in as well. So that was a really good activity. I had a few kids that can't order the numbers, but almost all of them could recognise them and draw the number of eyeballs to go with. That was pretty much it for day 3. Given it was their first full day in the afternoon, we just finished some artwork off from the day before, played a few games and shared some me bags. So what we get our kids to do at the start of the year, instead of doing show and tell, is they bring in a bag full of things about them, and they get up and they share it. So they stand on the stage with a microphone and they share the things that they brought. So they might bring some sports things, they might bring some photos, they might just show things that they like to do at home and things like that. So we did a few of those, finished off some artwork, and that was kind of it for the day. Okay, day 4, today, Friday, the last day of the week. We had a pretty jam-packed day. The kids started with a play again, so I've had the same play stuff out all week with the pom-poms and the beads, Lego and things like that, and next week I'll change it up. We started with an activity, which read this book, Old Friends, New Friends, and we talked about how we come from kinder with friends, and then when we get to school we make new friends. So then we just did this really simple drawing. So they have old friends and new friends. So they named a friend that they had in kinder that they may be in a class with at school or may not be, and they drew a picture of them, and then they told me or told the class a new friend that they have, and they drew that on this side, and we labelled them and coloured them in just as a little bit of a reminder that we're here to make new friends. In the middle session, we revised our sound. So we read Pig the Monster, which they loved, and we just talked about all the sounds that we remember and the words. And then we did an alphabet adventure. So this is from Top Teacher, I think, and basically they just colour in the pictures that start with so the mail, the milk, the moon, the mouse, the mitten, the monster, the mitten, and it kind of turns into a maze. They did really well with that. It was really good for them to say the word out loud. Ball, does that have the sound in it? No, don't colour it in. So they did that. They did awesome with that. And then we went over how to glue things into our books without the flappy bits hanging out, and to use the very next page, and to put the glue on the paper rather than in the book. So all that routine stuff. So it was just another opportunity to practice more routine. For the last session of the day today, we did some rotation. So I introduced the preps to rotating and how we work that, because I use that a lot in maths and literacy. So I wanted to get them used to that process. And to do that, we just had sound rotations. So I'll flip you around and show you what we got up to. So the first one we used Play-Doh, and they got Play-Doh out, and they used these clickable, you know, things, toys I guess, they sort of click together, and googly eyes to make monsters out of the Play-Doh. The second rotation they use mustaches, and they got the iPads, which we haven't taught them how to use them yet, so that was good just to see how they go, and they obviously can really use them well. And they took selfies and photos of each other with mustaches. Then we did marble runs. They made marble runs and put the marbles through. And then the last one is magnets. So these magnetic sticks and marbles all attached together to make things. So that was what they did. So we practiced doing rotations. They spent about 10 minutes on each one. And then we practiced rotating and packing up and doing all the things. We've had an awesome week in prep this week. I'm so happy. My class seems to be so settled and really organised and following the routines beautifully. So I'm looking forward to next week. I will try and do another video of all my planning for next week as well. And yeah, fingers crossed we'll get to do more videos this year. If you have any videos you'd like to see, please comment them below. Make sure you subscribe and like and do all the things. And I'll see you very soon. Thanks. Bye.